And a very good evening to everybody. It's the Stage Right Show, streaming live at Breitbart TV and blogtalkradio.com. Thanks so much for listening tonight. We're here Monday through Friday at midnight East Coast time, bringing you the best in late-night conservative talk radio. We hit news, politics, and entertainment, and we take you into the wee hours of the morning. For all of you listening live, you can find us with a video stream right over here at stagerightshow.com and at Breitbart TV. Just look for the Stage Right Show logo there on the main page. Click on through and you'll be able to see the live video stream. And of course, you'll be able to join our live online chat.
Metaphor I use for net neutrality when I'm trying to explain it to other people. If you think of the internet as a communal freeway, do you really want an 18-wheeler allowed to go 100 miles per hour when you have a speed limit? That's the metaphor I use. I don't want to...
No, but what's really happening is you're saying everyone has to drive as slow as the 18-wheeler. You're bringing the speed limit down.
No, that's not true. On any given freeway...
It's pretty true.
No. On any given freeway, you have a speed limit.
We gotta talk.
Okay.
Right.
Some people drive over, they pay the ticket, they don't care if they get pulled over. Okay. But there's not a lane for people who want to drive 100 miles per hour. There's no Autobahn, lane on United States freeways.
Wish there was.
Well, then you could drive it. But I'm not going to pay extra for your insurance. Okay? I'm not going to pay any of your hospital bills if you want to drive in that lane. And as sure as
you'll just be stuck in traffic with me.
You're in the Autobahn lane?
No, I'm saying there's no lane, so we're all stuck in traffic.
Are we stuck in traffic? Are we stuck in traffic any more than we are already?
We're stuck in traffic all the time.
There you go. Oftentimes I find with Steven Crowder's videos, especially when he's interviewing people on the street like that, if he just lets them talk long enough, they start to reveal what the true ideas are behind these benign words like net neutrality. Steven Crowder, well done, sir. He's joining us now. How are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I get old war flashbacks when you play the clip with that haggard lady.
I bet you do. But you played her like a song, Stephen. This was fantastic because everybody talks about net neutrality and they set it up in such a way, and then sometimes it's strange because you get some people, like you mentioned later in the video, that the big behemoth corporations like Verizon and AT&T and Google, they're all in favor of it as well. So a lot of times people.
Well, I should say actually AT&T is not, but Verizon, Facebook, Yahoo, Google, essentially the biggest conglomerate sites are. AT&T, but if you look at AT&T, they're always pretty even-handed. They donate, I think, 55-45 Republican Democrat.
Okay.
So they're sort of on the fence with net neutrality. So I just want to make sure to fix that, just because I don't want to condemn AT&T.
Oh, thank you, and I appreciate that. But so here's what I find that's really wonderful here. You get this woman who's clearly wearing Birkenstocks and a flamboyant scarf around her neck. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And you get her actually starting to talk about it, and clearly it's socialism. Basically, it's bringing socialism, government-controlled equality and fairness to the internet. And Stephen, by the way, they're telling me you got to be a little bit louder if you can.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Is that louder, chat pack? I don't have the window up, but you can ask them and we'll.
It's a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, they say it's better, and they also want to know what you're wearing. Oh God.
Well, nothing, and I'm glad it's better.
All
Larry,
right.
you know me. It's a Thursday night. I'm decompressing after the upload of the recent video. Come on.
I understand.
Don't play dumb with us, Larry.
Right.
Here's the thing: is the government is involved with the internet. That's what they'll try and say. Is well, it hasn't happened yet because the government has been involved. But if you do see Al Franken's sort of speech, and if you do see his agenda, they ultimately talk about getting the government more involved. And the end game here, and you can research this, is to completely remove any and all control from the telecom companies, from cable companies. That is their end game. And I believe that end game is based on the premise that the government itself is this pure deity who could never possibly be tainted with the idea of corruption. That's the problem, is when you're putting a hand in a centralized government, you're looking at people who could be just as corrupt as Comcast or Google. As a matter of fact, I would argue much more so. But Al Franken, who, by the way, is now walking human Ambien. That guy was hilarious. I don't know what's happened to him, it doesn't ever actually allow that to enter the equation. The government could become corrupt itself.
Well, that's right. And even putting aside the corruption part of it, Stephen Crowder, here's the other thing. As soon as we concede, we the American people concede, that the United States government has the right to control this level of access of content for the Internet and the means in which the content is delivered to you, then what is the actual moral and constitutional argument against them controlling the content itself? You've lost that argument if you concede this ground.
Well, absolutely. There is no moral or constitutional argument. The argument that some people use is, well, you won't know if they are screwing with your
traffic. If people were allowed to, for example,
screwing with websites.
Sorry about that. I played noise over you.
That's what they'll say. Is they say you wouldn't know. But the truth is that information gets out when there is a freedom of competition, when there is free enterprise at work. If Google is screwing you, Yahoo will let you know. Just like when YouTube, by the way, I've experienced it from an evil corporation like Google. YouTube has tried to censor my videos.
That's right.
And my belief is not to give more power to the government to regulate it, especially as someone who, by the way, makes a living off of bad-mouthing this government. I don't want them to be in cahoots with Google and create a super monopoly. If you allow the government to take that control, there's far less chance that you will know about the corruption in a company than if you allow the free market to work. And that is what I think is important. And I get with the analogy with the kettlebell, it's about weight versus bandwidth, and people say it's not legitimate. But come on, folks, I'm trying to draw an analogy which is an incredibly complex issue, and Al Franken somehow manages to make it more boring.
Yeah, exactly. No, you did a fine job. And by the way, I would have had trouble lifting the letter, not to mention the kettlebell. So well done on that one. No, I completely agree with you. And YouTube, I think, is one of the biggest offenders. In fact, we've run into the same problem ourselves. And that's why those who are paying attention at Breitbart TV will see that the vast majority of our original content videos now are being uploaded to Media Research Center, MRC.TV. And you know, we had an enormous traffic day today, and all of that traffic went to them instead of YouTube. And I'm glad for it. It's unfortunate because YouTube is sort of the standard right now, but if they continue their ways, they're going to continue losing people.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I do think it's important for conservatives to be on YouTube just because it's important to preach outside of the choir. But it is very hard for people, and it is very hard. I understand that, I built myself up through a back door of comedy on YouTube, and I probably wouldn't have been able to do so if I was more of a serious conservative commentator on the web. They do censor people. So I get that. But net neutrality is really a problem that's not there at this point, that they're looking for. And it doesn't really exist. And you hear this lady talk about it. I mean, you know what? Let's be honest. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone paying more for bandwidth or someone paying more for priority or giving priority to certain sites. I think that's their right as a company. And if we allow more companies to enter the field, let's use, for example, Ford right now. Ford deserves more of the market share than GM or Chevrolet. But they have to compete against an organization that has a seemingly never-ending supply of federal tax dollars. It's like a zombie. You blow its face off and it comes right back. And that's not fair to Ford.
That's right.
And I think the same should apply to the Internet.
Well, and listen, only the statist and Democrat socialist-leaning people could look at what's gone on in the last 20 years, the incredible entrepreneurial and free speech growth, the incredible free expression, and the incredible artistic and technological strides that have been made on the Internet over the past 15 to 20 years. Only they could look at that and say, this is really a problem. We've got to get the government into this and start controlling this. Just let it be. What's wrong with what's been going on? I don't see what the problem is. And you pointed that out. You said, can you name me one instance where this problem is actually occurring? This problem that you're all imagining is about to happen. Is there any instance in the past where it's occurred? And they can't give you that.
Well, they did name, when they said name a problem, I said, well, a big problem with the Internet is Larry O'Connor. I got that answer time and time again. Apparently, these people have a problem with your programming, Larry.
Stephen, they have a problem with me keeping my clothes on for my programming. You know that. And there is actually a private cam.
It is inappropriate.
I understand, yes.
It is false advertising. People expect, come on, when they tune in, you've got that big G.I. Joe square jaw.
I hear you.
And then you have pants. It's not right. It's just not the right combination.
Wow.
A guy like that, you can't have pants on. But it is true. As far as this collusion of companies coming together to scam the American people, it hasn't happened, and that's largely because the Internet is a hyperly competitive market. And the fact is that, when we talk about the New Deal in the video, the second the government steps in, that allows them to pick winners and pick losers. And that's why you see giant companies support net neutrality, and the smaller upstart businesses tend to be very much against it.
Right. All right, Stephen, I really do love these videos that you do where you go out and meet people on the street. I think that you've got a real gift for it. You've got all your facts in line, so it's almost like you're ready for them to start laying on certain brain-dead arguments for you so you can attack. And you do it in such a charming and funny way. You finished this video with one of those exchanges. I want to play it again and then talk to you about it. This, again, is the end of Stephen's video from Monday about net neutrality. You're going to love this part, everybody.
You know, I come from a country where we don't let for-profit companies run our hospitals because we believe...
That's worked out great for Canada.
Yes, it has. It's worked out fabulously for Canada. And Canadians recently voted the creator of socialized medicine in Canada the greatest Canadian who ever lived. So obviously Canadians are in general in favor of our socialized medical system.
It was publicly declared a crisis and a violation of human rights in Shawi versus Quebec in 2005 from Claude Castonguay, the man who headed up the commission that founded socialized medicine.
I'm sorry, you said that very quickly. Can you...
In 2005, the Supreme Court case, Shawi versus Quebec, it was declared a violation of human rights because wait times were so long and so many people were dying that they opened it up to privatization. And that's why in Canada you now have super hospitals, or as in the States we know them, hospitals.
Oh, man, that is beautiful. Stephen, you can see the look on your face. You got this cute little grin going where you were ready to pounce on him like a little rat caught in a trap. Was that what was going on in your mind? It's like, oh, I got him. He's throwing Canadian healthcare at me. I got everything.
No, I never go in with it's sort of like the Bruce Lee, just be water, or Hickson Gracie says, don't go with the flow with the go. I truly believe in finding a point zero and being neutral and taking what you give them. So I never go in looking to try and hang a guy. I really do want to hear what they have to say. But the second the guy starts BSing with that, by the way, completely bogus poll on the greatest Canadian who ever lived, I think the actual legitimate winner of that was Don Cherry, by the way, when they ran the actual poll.
Wait, what about Wayne Gretzky?
The truth is, his mullet was number 2.
All right, there you go.
But Don Cherry won number 1. I do think, it sort of comes from personal experience. When I got to the United States and I went to a hospital, I remember my brother and I turned to each other and said, my God, this is not a hospital. This is a hotel. We were used to going down to the CLSC, which was the government-run clinic. If you wanted to get a blood test, your doctor couldn't administer it to you. You had to go down to the CLSC at the crack of dawn, so you'd miss at least half day of work, almost an entire day of work. And even if you just needed some blood work done to check your cholesterol or blood work done because you want some kind of medication, didn't matter. You had to go down to the local clinic with every sneezing, coughing leper, for all you know, and you sit on chairs which are carpeted that essentially are a canvas for trapping disease. You don't know what's coming out of there, whether it's HIV or syphilis. It's like whack-a-mole trying to hit different viruses down in that carpeted fabric. And you have to sit there and get a freaking blood test done just to tell you that nothing's wrong with you, and you come back with 6 different diseases. It's absurd. It's just an awful, awful experience. And so when I came to the States, I said, okay, what's going on here? What's allowing them to have their crap together? Because, like Dennis Miller says, there is a value in having your crap together, and did some research on it. And it's a terrible, terrible system. And after leaving Quebec, they now have super hospitals where you pay $900 to join for the year as a blanket fee, and then $100 every visit, so you can get that second tier of care in Quebec that other people don't get in the socialized system. So in this little arrogant, we have to, even though it's online, I know you guys want to keep it clean show. This little arrogant bastard, we'll go with bastard, wants to say that Canadian healthcare is better than American healthcare while he now lives in the States. The guy just had it coming.
Yeah, he really did. And the last thing you want to do to sell this to American audience, the last thing you want to do to extol the virtues of net neutrality is to compare it to socialized medicine in another country. I mean, we're not even buying socialized medicine when it's compared to socialized medicine. We're certainly not going to buy net neutrality as well. So well done on that. I'm hoping that video is really making the rounds. I think that it's essential viewing. It really is for people who don't understand the issue there. All right, we'll work it out. In the meantime, we'll see you all tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Now I'm standing Liberty loves company. Liberty loves your company.